Wouldn't it be Ryan the Great? And today we are talking the Philadelphia Eagles, guys. They got a win over the Carolina Panthers. It was an ugly win, but they ended up winning 22-16. That ended on Carolina turning the ball over on downs for Philadelphia to win the game. So we'll be breaking this game down. I was at the game yesterday. Me and Cole Cole and I guess you could say, went to the game, and it was a good time. So yeah, let's just get right into it. But before we get right into it, guys, make sure you guys subscribe with your post notifications on. Go subscribe to my brother the Great Vlogs. Make sure to subscribe to my second channel at Ryan the Cod Great. Make sure you guys go follow me on X at Ryan the Great RTG. Make sure you guys go follow me on TikTok at Ryan the Great RTG. Make sure you guys go listen to the latest edition of the CR7 podcast, and make sure you guys go follow me on Twitch at Ryan the Great Podcast. And after we do, ladies and gentlemen, let's run the video. Let's roll that intro. Hey, come on, Stotty. Stop! 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 Red flag! First pitch! Bring him in! Yes! Oh, damn. All right, let's get in the video. So starting off with the Eagles, their offense and their quarterback, Jalen Hurts. This was not a good game from Hurts at all. It wasn't completely abysmal, but it also was pretty bad. I've been saying it for the past couple of weeks that he needs to get rid of the football, and he just did not do that. He just hesitated in the pocket. He stood there. There were many occasions where I saw A.J. Brown wide open, and he just would not give him the ball. He just hesitated. I'm not sure what his problem was. It just was honestly ridiculous. I mean, you got to have some confidence in your abilities, and you're going up against the Carolina Panthers secondary, who had J.C. Horn injured in the game, their best corner. So, it's not like you're going up against the Steelers or the San Francisco 49ers where in a one-on-one they could possibly, intercept the football. In a one-on-one coverage, I doubt Carolina's defensive backs are going to be intercepting the football, more times than not. So, I don't understand why he just wouldn't pull the trigger. Now, if against Pittsburgh, I'd be a little bit more understanding. But, against Carolina, I just don't understand it. And that means hesitating, but he has to get rid of the football. Just don't when you're going against Carolina, don't hesitate. But, just get rid of the ball, man. I mean, just please. And then he tried escaping through the A-gap a couple times. I forgot to mention that, which I thought was stupid because the Panthers were getting off their blocks in the A-gap late. So, and we're making plays there, so I don't really understand what they were doing. Anyway, our running backs, Saquon Barkley, another incredible game. Heard MVP chants in the crowd when I was there, which was just great to hear. And, just another great game. I was pretty disappointed the receivers blocking was not too good in this game. He would have had one of those 50 or 60 yards touchdown runs, but nonetheless a great game. He got past the first level easily. I give credit to guys like Jurgens, Dickerson, and Becton helping him do that. If the second level blocking was just a little bit better, he could have broke, and he is just great all around. And yeah, moving on to our wide receivers, A.J. Brown. The stat sheet says it didn't really look like he had a good game, but if you watch the film, he played fine. I mean, he did everything right. He just wouldn't get the football. For some reason, Jalen, for the past couple of weeks, only wants to get him the football on a slant or a curl, which I don't understand why. I mean, he has a more diverse route tree. He ran a post corner on one, on a route, and I think it was one of the first few plays of the game, and they just didn't give him the football. I don't understand that. I just don't know. And then Devontae Smith, you'd love to see a touchdown in his return. He was open on some occasions, but not as much as A.J. Brown. But for a return game, it wasn't terrible. I would have liked to see him in a more of a diverse route tree. It felt like, you didn't really see him get open too much. That's kind of because he was running the same few routes, so it is what it is. Wilson, Dotson, Wilson got overthrown on one pass. Other than that, nothing really happened. Dotson had one catch for 5 yards or 7 yards, whatever it was, kind of his weekly dose of one catch for yards that don't matter. I really saw nothing. The blocking was not good today, so that's just another reason just to criticize them. And then for the tight end, Grant Gacter, I'd love to see a touchdown out of him. With no Goddard for at least the next 4 games, we're going to need him to make some plays. We used him in the flats. It seemed like we were using him off trying to get him the ball in the RPO, especially when Hurts was bootlegging it. So a great game from him. Well, not great, but he played decent. He's also a very good blocking tight end as well. I've given him credit for that over the course of the season. So if he can just continue to do that, maybe catch the ball a little bit more, then I'll have no problems with him. Our offensive line, I thought we were good overall. Run blocking was great. I just felt we could have got the ball to Barkley a little bit more, but more on that later. Jalen held on to the ball for just a million years, and there were times where he would try to escape through the A-gap, which I mentioned before, and then he would just get sacked. That's not on the offensive line. You can't block forever, no matter who you are. So we had a solid day on the offensive line. The stats don't show, but once again, if you watch the film, kind of like A.J. Brown, you'll see that it was pretty different. Moving on to our defense and our defensive line, can you just get to Bryce Young? How good is the Panthers' offensive line? I know Robert Hunt was decent. Jalen Carter gets double-teamed just about every play. He actually wasn't doing terrible against Jalen Carter, so I got to give him credit where credit is due. Maybe that $100 million was worth it, but nonetheless, you're sending Fangio's giving you guys everything you need to go get to the quarterback. He's sending pressure. He's sending extra guys on the rush. And then, the guys who are supposed to be rushing the passer, like Sweat and Hunt, who was in there as well. These guys are just not rushing the passer well. Milton Williams didn't have a great game as well. I didn't really see him do much. Carter was pretty good. He made a few tackles. Did I mention Davis? I don't think Davis did much. The defensive line was not good. I understand we had one sack, but against Carolina, it should be a lot better. And there were times where he was just escaping the pocket, and we were letting him go. We're letting him get out. Our guys were over pursuing our defensive ends were over pursuing, and he was just getting out of the pocket. So this stuff can't happen. We got to get to the quarterback. We held Jaden Daniels in the pocket. We were able to drop him a few times. Didn't do the best job of holding Lamar in the pocket, but it's Lamar Jackson, so I can live with that. But Bryce Young, somebody who can barely see over the offensive line, come on, let's go. What are we doing here? Anyway, moving on to our linebackers. These guys, Dean and Bond, felt like the only guys that actually cared about the game or cared about tackling. They were all over the second level, especially Zach Bond. He was great. He got through gaps very easily. I don't know why teams are not paying more attention to him, but, I'm not complaining. Hubbard would have had 200 yards on us if it wasn't for him and Dean. He was on a couple hot streaks. There were times where he would get a few tackles in a row, and then you just wouldn't hear his name for a little bit, or wouldn't see him on the play for a little bit. So there were some hot and cold streaks from him where he would be involved. But Bond just all over, incredible game. I really love what he's doing. He's the only guy who had a sack as well. Our corners and safeties, other than C.J. Gardner-Johnson, nobody could tackle, at all. DeJean had a bad day. Not a bad day, but we're used to seeing excellence from DeJean this year, and this was just not it. He was able to make some tackles, but he wasn't able to make the open field tackles like we're used to seeing. He did need some help on some occasions. I really not the best game from him. Quinyon Mitchell did give up a few passes, but once again couldn't tackle. Even C.J. Gardner-Johnson, I feel like I'm talking about, he hit well. He hit a couple guys, but he got hurt a lot. He got hurt twice, hurt his head, and I don't know, was his leg? I don't really know. He just hit well. He didn't really even tackle Slay. He gave, he had one pass deflection that saved the game. That shouldn't have even come down to it. And then the entire game, he just got burnt on crossing routes, and once again, he couldn't tackle. So, I wasn't very impressed with really the entire defense other than Bond and Dean. Even though we gave up 16, I just really was not impressed overall with the defense. Tackling was terrible. There were a couple times where, I thought Jordan Davis, Jalen Carter, there's really the defensive tackles had a chance to tackle. And then, the safeties and corners, they were normally, I'm not expecting you to make every open field tackle, but, this just was not a good game tackling-wise. And even on double tackles, they were still breaking for a couple, even when two guys were tackling at the same time, they still were breaking for more extra yards, so I just didn't like it. Anyway, our coaching, I thought Barkley should have gotten the ball a tad bit more. I know he did get 20 carries, but he also averaged 6.7 yards a carry. I would have liked to see him. No, Barkley also sold his one opportunity for a touchdown on the goal line, so that's his fault. Everybody complains about Hurts using the tush push. That was Barkley's fault, man. He couldn't score, but I guess the offensive line didn't block there. But nonetheless, I just don't know why Hurts couldn't throw the damn ball. You can't blame Kellen Moore on that, or Sirianni. That's just Hurts' fault. We didn't have much of a plan to defend the sidelines, and I will be honest, I don't recall teams really ever beating us up the sidelines. So that's I give credit to the Panthers for game planning that way. Thielen kept running that double move and getting up the sideline, so I give those guys credit. They took what the Eagles haven't defended this year and used it against us. So, I can't not give them credit for that. But, we should have made an adjustment for the second half to defend that. I thought Fangio did a decent job. I just thought he should have had more of a game plan to defend the sidelines in the second half. And, he sent pressure, but just didn't execute on that. So it is what it is there. And then I was very disappointed when Sirianni didn't take the field goal when on our last drive. Listen, Elliott, I don't know if Elliott's hurt or something because he's been abysmal. I mean, he's missing easy things or missing easy field goals. He's missing field goals that he would normally make. I don't really understand what he was doing. But I thought we should have at least tried the field goal there because the Panthers, they drove right down to where Elliott missed the field goal anyway on their last drive. So I don't really understand what we were doing there. Bottom line, it was an ugly win, but we got the win. So, Jalen played one of his worst games. And even though we gave up 16 points, I was not too impressed with the defense. I get Carolina's a trap game, but it shouldn't have come down to the wire because we've been playing so hot. That would be this video, guys. Make sure you guys subscribe with the post notifications on. Go subscribe to my brother in the Great Blogs. Make sure you guys subscribe to my second channel at Round the Cog Great. Make sure you guys go follow me on X at Round the Great RTG. Make sure you guys go follow me on TikTok at Round the Great RTG. Make sure you guys go listen to the latest edition of the CR7 podcast. Make sure you guys go follow me on Twitter at Round the Great Podcast. And as always, Ryan the Great out. Peace.